Hi. First off, I'm gonna start off with, yes, I did dye my hair. And I didn't cut it, I did curl it, and I have pigtails up so it looks shorter than it is. That's not what I wanted to talk about. I still don't know if I'm gonna post this video, okay? I don't know if this is something that I want to broadcast, even though it's already been talked about. This has not been through my own volition that it has been talked about. It is something that was brought up without my consent. Like, it's some abuse. I have PTSD. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. You get PTSD from stressful situations and being afraid, being hurt. The most common form of PTSD is found in soldiers who have seen war. I don't want to liken myself to those people because I don't know what a dead body looks like. I've never had to clean my friend's blood from my hands. I have had to clean my own blood from my hands. I am a victim of sexual assault. From the ages of 4 to 12, I was sexually assaulted by two separate perpetrators, one being my stepfather and one being my stepfather's mother's boyfriend. The latter of the which has been arrested when I was 13, and he has been in prison ever since. I never had to go to trial for it. He immediately owned up to it, and he got convicted, and he's still there, and I'm pretty sure he's serving a 25-year sentence. The former was never convicted. The former was never taken to court. The former was never investigated. I didn't come out with the sexual assault until sophomore year of high school when I attempted suicide. At the time, I believed that no one would ever care about me and that no one ever did care about me. And I'm not going to cry during this video. I'm not going to cry. I believed that I had nothing. That I would never have anything. That I was useless and worthless and I would be doing the world a favor by getting rid of myself. I was wrong. I got in a bathtub full of cold water and went to sleep. I contemplated slitting my wrists, but the kitchen knife that I grabbed was too dull and I could not make anything more than superficial wounds to the top 2 layers of epidermis, drawing little blood. I debated drinking liquid drainer, and I looked it up, and it was one of the most painful ways to die, and I'm not very good with pain. It took a lot of thought to want to kill myself. It did. It took years to work up the courage to do it. I had begun my suicide note at the age of 11 years old. At the age of 11 years old. Yeah, totally makes sense. But yeah, I began my suicide note when I was 11. In my suicide note, I explained the abuse that had happened pertaining to my stepfather. My mother found my suicide note and called the police to escort me to a mental hospital where I could get treatment for what at the time they did not diagnose, but they threw around bipolar disorder and depression. I, in the end, was diagnosed with PTSD and depression. I hurt so bad during that time. I came home and my abuser was still there. My mother explained it as he had passed multiple tests, lie detector tests, polygraphs. A short search would... Any self-respecting lawman would tell you that polygraphs are not an appropriate answer as to whether someone is guilty or innocent, especially if the subject is on drugs. My stepfather had been an addict for well over 16, 17 years. He had been addicted to methadone and dopamine for a while, at least as long as I've known him. And anyone will tell you that being under the influence of these medications, under these drugs, will affect any type of heart rate or any type of response relating to your homeostasis, meaning sweating, shaking, and other symptoms. I came home and he was still there. It wasn't really talked about. Ever. Even when we had gotten into fights, even when I had tried to bring it up to my mother again, it wasn't talked about. About 2 years ago, my mother and my stepfather ended up going through a separation. Their divorce has not yet been finalized due to financial things. My mother broke up with him because of the addiction, because he was stealing things that did not belong to him, because he was not paying bills, and that's not an option when you have someone under the age of 18 within the house that cannot work, one of which being a 5-year-old. I have wanted to take legal action against this for years, and I haven't because I fear for the safety of my siblings. I know that my brother has some type of developmental disorder, and he will not be able to understand change like that. He can't lose what he has. And for the longest time, I have been willing to let myself hurt so they could be okay. My stepfather never would and never could touch his own children, my sister and brother. Recently, I learned that he is living in the house again with my mother, my siblings, my mother's boyfriend, and his children. My mother's boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, the mother of his children, is living in a car outside of their house. I have PTSD. And it affects so much in my life. I am terrified of men. I cannot be in a room alone. I have a phobia of closed doors. I don't sleep. It affects my relationship with any type of romantic level, especially in men. I'm bisexual, and I have long leaned more towards women because of my fear. Right now, I am in a bit of a sweet spot. I am on my way to another state so I can be away from all of this so I can try to be happy for once. So I can live and be allowed to live as I wish. I have been talking to someone that I have been borderline in love with since the day I laid eyes on them. I have so much support from people that I've met not even a few months ago that understand me better than the person who raised me. I have PTSD. It is not a challenge as much as it is a hindrance. I have PTSD. I panic. I have panic attacks. I have cried more tears than I can hold. I know that I probably will never be great. But for now, I'm okay. Please, if you are suffering from any type of abuse, be it sexual, verbal, mental, emotional, it does not matter. Seek help. You do not have to stay in that situation. You do not have to subject yourself to that. Sometimes you just have to take care of yourself. Thank you for watching. In the description below, there are links to women's shelters, suicide hotlines, and anything and everything that I could possibly find within an hour of research that can help you. Because I know I needed help.